welcome everybody. We're going to give everyone a few minutes to file in. We had a good group of people, nice on time group waiting in the waiting room. And then I think we'll have people trickle in throughout because I know you're all super busy, but I'm glad to see you here today. As you enter, if you don't mind going ahead and going over to the chat and make sure that you are on everyone, that you're commenting to everyone, and let us know where you're joining from and what kind of company you are, so we can kind of get an idea. And the chat is also where you'll be able to post questions throughout. You could also post them if you want to post them more on the down low. You can post them in the Q&A, and I'll be checking both places throughout.
Okay, we South Beach also.
Let's see. Okay, I think we have a good group. We can get started. I want to make one note here. Let me see if this is I'm sorry, I am not able to see the chat. I don't know why it's not showing up.
On the bottom, the Q&A. Is that you see that?
My chat is disabled. That's why I can't see it. Thank you. Tara, I don't know if you're able to enable the chat. Otherwise, we will use the Q&A as our side chat for this one, and we'll get it fixed for next time. No big deal, as long as we have a place to ask questions. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm really excited about this digital event. I am Pamela Rothbard. I'm the Director of Editorial for PartySlate. And I am excited to talk about our topic today, which is the ins and outs of booking hotel room blocks. And lucky for me, because it is not a topic that I am well versed in, but we really have the experts. So we have the team from LM Media Worldwide. They're operating as Kleinfeld Hotel Blocks. They have been doing this for over 11 years. Have booked more than 50,000 rooms. So they have definitely become experts in the topic. And I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves. I've got Laura Kruger and Michelle Donson from LM Media Worldwide. I'd love to hear a little bit about each of your backgrounds, how you got started in this. It's a really interesting field and a niche that I think there was a need that you have filled. So we're grateful for that. Laura, do you want to start and tell us a little bit about how you guys got started?
Sure. So I'm Laura. Hello. And I was an entrepreneur my whole life. My father had car businesses. I was always working with him. I had a restaurant for 10 years. I needed a job, got into hotel sales. And then I recognized that everyone in the hotels, all the major groups, no one was really orchestrating and monitoring these wedding room blocks. And there were so many moving parts and pieces to this area of the hotel. So I'm like, somebody should be overseeing this and, almost like being an agency for them, because no one's doing it. And I had this idea for 10 years. I never did anything with it until I met Michelle. And then I knew I met the perfect person. And I'm like, this is my idea. And she's like, let's do it. And we just like jumped feet first. And Michelle's my best decision.
Well, hi, everybody. I'm Michelle. I'm the M in LM Media. My background is actually, I studied hotel restaurant management in college at University of Delaware, and I did my internship at the Marquis, which was the biggest hotel in the city. And at that point, at 18 years old, I was basically hooked, and I was never leaving the hotel industry. So a little background about how we started the company. Laura and I both were in hotel sales for probably 20 years. We met at Global Sales for Wyndham. We were selling over 7,000 hotels worldwide. Laura was based in New Jersey and doing the whole East Coast, and I was based in New York City, and I was doing all of the Fortune 500 New York companies for Wyndham Hotel Group. And like Laura said, she always had this idea of doing wedding blocks. When I saw the idea, I said, yes, that's a fantastic idea. And the reason is because when I worked in hotels as a director of sales, my wedding block salesperson actually had a higher goal than my association salesperson. So I knew
Oh,
as soon as I saw that idea, I knew it was going to be huge because also in the hotel world, and not a knock on hotel people, we love hotel people, but they give their least experienced sales manager the role of wedding block coordinator. So when these brides are
yeah,
calling into hotels, they're not dealing with a seasoned hotelier, you know. So we thought they really need somebody to manage this for them, somebody that actually knows the hotel industry. So we decided to pilot this and see if this was going to be something big or not. And we started doing it. My brother at the time, all his friends were getting married, and we started doing all of their blocks. And we saw it could be very big very quickly. But what I thought was we need a brand to back us because people constantly ask us, what is the partnership with Kleinfeld and how did that all come about? So we, like old school salespeople, we went to Kleinfeld for about 9 months and showed up in their lobby every single day until the owner took a meeting with us and talked to us. And I won't go into the whole story because it is a whole story because he's a character and he's phenomenal, Ronnie. But we did have a meeting. And at that meeting, he basically let us talk for about an hour about what actually a hotel block is and how it would work in the wedding industry. And we would be the only free service in the wedding industry, which he thought was unbelievable. And at the end of that meeting, he shook our hands and he was like, we have a deal. We've been partners with them for 11 years, which is their
well,
longest standing partnership to date, as long as Kleinfeld has been Kleinfeld. So it's a pretty big deal, our partnership. And what
yeah,
it is we basically pay them a licensing fee to use their name. So our company is LM Media Worldwide. We own it. We own Kleinfeld Hotel Blocks, but we pay them a fee to use the name Kleinfeld. So we have two sides to our business. One side is the wedding block side. We operate that side as Kleinfeld Hotel Blocks. And then the other
right,
side of our business is everything else, right? So we have about 100 accounts and we do sports, we do camps, associations, nonprofits, big corporate clients, and we do all the sourcing and negotiation for those clients, as well as about 5,000 to 6,000 wedding blocks a year. So it's we're a small company, but we are tremendous with the volume of business
yeah.
that we do. And that's really how we got started.
That is amazing. So it sounds like you are saving time for the planners or couples or in-house corporate planners on that side, and then also for the hotels, which may have unexperienced people working
Yeah.
this. And so you're saving that time and energy on both sides to get this done quickly,
Exactly.
efficiently.
Exactly. The hotel loves when they get a lead from us and not from a bride
Yeah,
directly because we could actually do the work of the hotelier and walk the bride through the
yeah,
contract process and what it looks like and how many rooms to block and what to do with the property. And yes, as far as saving time goes, I think what we could do, our internal system talks to the hotels within like 24 to 48 hours. We could get responses of about 25 hotels. If anybody tried to pick up the phone and call, that process would take about a month, especially after COVID.
yes.
There's not many hotel salespeople on property anymore. And as everybody knows, hotel salespeople move around very quickly, where we're the constant, we're always here. So if there's any issues, we'll get in touch with somebody. We'll figure it out for you.
Right. I love that. And it is of note that you are PartySlate's hotel block partner. And so when
Yes.
we do events, you work with us to create hotel blocks. And it's been a really seamless experience for us.
Exactly. You've seen the experience. You just tell us
Mm-hmm.
we're in this city, it's this location, and bam, in 2 days you get a spreadsheet chock full of all kinds of
Yeah.
information comparing apples to apples and all the rates, and it's like magic.
It's
So,
been really easy. For those who don't know, I'm going to back up and just share quickly what PartySlate is. If you're new, and I think we have quite a few new faces, at least at our digital event. But in case you're new to PartySlate, while we do have events, we are not an event business. We are a marketing platform where planners, photographers, venues, design decor, anything associated to events, any business associated can showcase their work on our platform. And then we serve it up to consumers, whether it's wedding couples or corporate event in-house people, gala chairs. The thing that makes us unique, well, one of the things, there are many, but one of the things is we are not just weddings. So unlike some of the other services that offer similar things, we really like to show the full body of work of the planners and the venues and all the rest that we work with, because we know that very few only specialize in weddings. And we take inspiration from everywhere from mitzvahs and sweet 16 all the way to an 80th birthday party, a 50th anniversary party, and then, of course, all of the beautiful weddings, product launches, fundraising galas, corporate conferences. So we get to see the gamut, and we package that up and share it through our Instagram, through editorial, with party hosts and couples that are looking for information and advice. So if you want to know more, I'll give you a way to contact us at the end. We will be sending out an email afterwards with the video and additional information. Okay, so I'm just taking a quick look at the chat. Let's get started and talking about hotel blocks and tips that you might have. So let's see. Okay, this is a big question. I think it's going to take us a minute to unpack. But how do you go about finding the perfect hotel block for a wedding? Or blocks, I'll say plural, because it is possible that you would create blocks at different hotels, and I'd like to hear about that also.
Sure. So we prefer block, but we oftentimes do blocks, and we'll get into that. But
okay,
the first thing is, how many rooms do we need? That's the number one question. And oftentimes people think they need way more rooms than they actually do need. So the rule of thumb, we've done this with 5,000 contracts a year for 11 years, just on the wedding room block side. So we really do, and we do it all over the world, not just in New York. We do it in Chicago, Miami, Barcelona, London, LA, everywhere, Wichita, Kansas. You need 10% of your attendee list. If your attendee list is 200 people, you need 20 rooms. So it's 20 rooms. So it's 200 rooms divided by 2. It's 100 possible rooms. And then there's attrition. There's fall off. People aren't going to stay overnight. People aren't coming from out of town. People are staying with Aunt Mary. People get an Airbnb. People are using their rewards nights. So 10% is truly the number of rooms you need. So if you have a 200-room wedding or party, you need 20 rooms. Now, if you have a lot of people from out of town, if it's a destination wedding, that's a different story. People coming from another country or coast to coast, then you'll need a longer stay and you'll need more rooms. But we can tell you that, or you can estimate 10, maybe a little bit more. Now, try not to book too many hotels. And why do we say this? Don't you want this to be an experience? Don't you want it to be fun? Don't you want to make memories? If everyone's scattered all over town and all they're doing is sitting in an Uber or in a vehicle and not at your party or at your hotel, how can they enjoy themselves? So try not to scatter your guests at different hotels. This way you maximize your experience from start to finish, including the hotel time. You keep the party going after the wedding. Everyone goes back to the same hotel. They have a great time. And most importantly, you're going to get a better deal if you give the hotel more rooms and you condense it into one hotel. So we recommend one hotel, maybe two. And that's pretty much served us very well. Oftentimes we'll see people will block 4 or 5 hotels and one hotel picks up 2 hotels, never that many. So please try to be prudent when you're blocking the hotels. And the hotels, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to ask, how many hotels do you send out to get quotes for to bring back to the planner you're working with or the couple? Okay.
Good question. We might cast a wide net. We might source 20 hotels, but and then we might offer all 20. We might offer 10, but you'll always get 10, usually 10 hotels from us, and which is very hard to do, as Michelle said, because calling 10 hotels and getting responses and accurate responses is not an easy feat. So we usually do 10, but we can do more or less based on, what we're dealing with. And like I said, less is more. So really try to condense the number of hotels. That's really, I can't emphasize that enough. Now,
well, you just the bride, it's a disservice to the bride or the couple or the client, because the more hotels that pick up into the block, the more rooms, the more concessions they get. And most hotels
exactly.
will tie the concessions into
Right.
pickup. So if there's, pickup of 10 rooms or 20 rooms at a particular hotel, then what's going to happen is the bride's going to get an upgrade for their parents. They're going to get a suite for free that's normally $1,500, So all these things, whether it's free breakfast, but all these concessions are tied into having the most rooms pick up into that group block. It just makes more sense.
Right. So the more narrow, if you have one hotel, you can get more perks, you can negotiate for more things. Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
A lot of times in a major city, we'll do, a more expensive hotel and a budget-friendly hotel so that a lot of guests won't have sticker shock. But other than that, if it's in a suburban area, we really recommend one hotel.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have the number of rooms. You know you're going to get 1 or 2 hotels max. So then you have to decide what kind of hotel you need. And is it going to be full service or limited service? And the main difference is limited service does not have any bells and whistles like a spa, full service restaurant, anything like that. But they do normally give you free breakfast included in the guest room rate, which is huge. A lot of times people want this free breakfast that they can offer their guests the next day. So, and a lot of times that will be more of a rate buy, will be more affordable. So a lot of people, free breakfast is a must. So then we're going limited service, and we know that. We might like scatter in a couple full service hotels when we're checking, but we specialize, we'll focus on the limited service. Or they might want full service. They might want an amazing suite. They might want to get ready. They might have 10 bridesmaids. They might want to have their gift bags handed out for free. They want to do a rehearsal dinner. So they'll need a full service hotel, which is more like a Marriott, a Hilton, a Hyatt, full service. The limited service are more like a Hampton Inn, Hyatt Place, Courtyard by Marriott, Residence Inn, things like that. And some of the limited service properties do offer a bar, which is an interesting thing, like a Hyatt Place or, a Spring Hill Suites. But, these are things that people don't know, but we do. So we can help guide this. But so you figure out what you want, full service or limited service. And then what we do is we recommend that you get about 5 quotes, which it sounds easy, but it's not, because like Michelle said, since COVID, sales teams have dwindled at hotels where there used to be 10 people on staff. There might only be 3. They haven't been replaced. So it's hard to get in touch with hotels. That's one of the big reasons for our company. We can get in touch with any hotel within, 48 hours, which is a miracle. So get some quotes, do your homework. And then once you get your quotes, what you need to do is pick your top 2, maybe 3, and really, if you can, tour these hotels. Now, you might not be able to because you're very busy. We highly recommend couples to get wedding planners or event planners. We love our planners, and they can maybe do the tour with you or on your behalf. So do the tour, find out which hotel you like. If you can't do the tour, obviously we're in the technology age, so do the virtual tour, read online. We get great information from TripAdvisor. Reddit is a great source. PartySlate is a great source. So, narrow it down. And then eventually you're going to have the hotel. You'll know when you go there or when you see what you like online, you'll know which hotel to pick. And then you have to go to the contract stage. That's when you really need us. So,
right. What can you share about negotiating that contract and what kinds of things you can ask for? What's okay to expect as part of a contract?
I could talk a little bit about the contract. I used to kid when I was a director of sales in a hotel. I used to say, maybe I have my law degree and I didn't know about it because all day long I was just going through contracts. But the hotel contracts could be a lot, believe it or not, even for a wedding block. So the first thing I would do, and the first thing I always tell my sales team to do, is check the rates online. Because a lot of times what's going to happen is a hotel is going to give you a higher rate than what's online. But remember, what's online probably has the hidden destination fee in there, where your group rate, you could probably negotiate that out. Many hotels, this is a huge tip right now. Many hotels right now, I've never seen this before ever, are putting in $50 destination fees to group blocks and to transient rates that you find online. And nobody knows about it until they literally check out of the hotel. It used to only be for like destination resorts or resorts on a beach or resorts in Florida where you're getting an umbrella or you're getting something. But now it is in every single hotel in cities. I have never seen this before in 20 plus years. So when you do it through us, we have negotiations with all these hotels that there is no hidden fees, no destination fees in our contracts. So that is huge, and people get duped all the time on that. So that would be like my number one tip with the rate and the destination fees, and the hidden fees. They also try to charge for room drops, for putting the bags in the rooms, and just have the guests like pick up the bags at the front desk and save yourself $5 a room. But again, you don't know that, and then you get hit with those charges after the fact, or they're hidden in the contract. Another thing you can negotiate in a contract is reward points. So I always ask for double points, and then the hotel will come back and say, okay, we could give you a whole set of points, as opposed to just giving the points to the individual checking in. You can still get group points for yourself, the planner, for whoever. So always remember that. Another big thing is the cutoff date. I would say 95% of hotels want to put a 30-day cutoff date. Now, planners out there, with invitations, sometimes invitations don't go out until 3 weeks out or 4 weeks out. Nobody's getting an invitation for a wedding, and the first thing they're doing is booking into the hotel block. It's not happening. Right. So we always ask for a 14-day cutoff. If you're lucky, you'll get 21 days, but that's a win because they're extending longer and longer. A lot of the corporate contracts are having like a 45-day cutoff now, but always try to fight for that 2-week cutoff, I would say. Get your suite in advance. Most hotels only have 2 or 3 bridal suites, even in the big box hotels of 1,000 rooms, believe it or not. If you don't have this negotiated in the contract beforehand, you're in trouble. You assume you're going to get it, you're not going to get it. And right. This ties into doing the only one block, because if a bridal suite is $5,000, we can negotiate the bridal suite at the group rate if we have a certain amount of rooms that pick up into the block, which is huge. And then I would say the best thing to do at the end is check your booking link. So this is a really big tip, because what happens is internally in a hotel, they put the booking in and they'll just put maybe single rooms. And what happens is somebody goes to book into the block and they'll book a double, and it will show block is sold out. The block isn't sold out. The hotel salesperson just didn't put it in right and didn't put all the different room types. So that's key. You have to check that, but nobody would know to check that. So this is all the work.
So that's something that you do, that you two do, is you'll check and make sure that there's a variety of rooms.
Exactly. Yeah. Because before we turn the contract over in our process, before we do all this work. So we do the legwork, we negotiate the contract, we pick the hotel, and then we get the booking link from the hotel. We check it, and then at that point, we're out. We turn it over to the planner or to the bride or to the client, make the introduction, and they're all set. So we do all of that front end work.
Amazing. Amazing. I know we have more to talk about. I want to pause because we are burning up in the chat with questions.
Oh, good. Right. Love it.
And so I want to ask you
I'll
some of the questions.
Sure.
Yeah. Laura, at the top, you talked about estimating the percentage if it's more of a local wedding with some out-of-town guests. How do you estimate the percentage of rooms you need if it's a destination wedding? Do you assume it's 100%?
Yeah.
Totally
Yeah,
different. In a perfect world, it's 100%, but not
yeah.
100% of the people are going to book into the block. So we estimate 50 to 75% based
Hmm.
on, what we're hearing from the bride and groom or the planner, because we'll know like, oh, like a lot of these people are corporate people and they all have Marriott Bonvoy points and we're staying at a Royalton, which is a Marriott. So a lot of these people, even though there's a, a block, they're going to book with their points because the points are free for them. So,
Right.
if I had if a gun was put to my head, I'd say it's like 60% for destination.
Okay. I mean, we don't want to threaten you, but we appreciate
No,
the answer. So thank
that's
you.
what Michelle's
Um,
job is. She threatens. Get to work.
um, so somebody is asking if you accept IATA numbers.
No, so we have an IATA number and that's how we make
Okay.
our money. We are a completely free service to our clients, our brides and our planners, but we get paid once the group checks out of the hotel and that's how we make our money. So if a planner has an IATA number, then they would have to
Yeah.
go ahead and do the block themselves, obviously, because we
Got it.
can't
Got
do
it.
it for
Okay. Because
free.
someone
Yeah.
else is saying, I don't have an IATA number. So, and
Then
it's
that's
IATA,
great.
not IATA.
Yes,
And
it's
so,
IATA,
and a lot of clients have IATA numbers. They're
but
just
they
too
still don't
busy.
want to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're booking the wedding or
Yeah.
they're booking the event. They don't have time. This is another like full-time job. So you
it
don't need
is.
two full-time jobs.
Yeah.
It's just so a lot of times we book with planners all the time that have IATA numbers that don't want to be bothered with this, which is fine.
Is
We love
there a
that.
planner commission structure when they work with you? We do have a planner asking.
No, we don't have a planner commission structure because it's so much legwork. I mean, most of the time,
We
planners,
do it for free. That's the structure.
Yeah,
We
that's
right.
the
do
structure.
many hours of work for free.
Yeah, and all we ask is, if you're interested, just try us out because you may have utilized a similar service to ours, not that there really is one, and it's completely different. We never really lose a client. Employees never leave us and we never lose clients because once they're with us, it's so easy and they don't really have to do much. So
And you know
it's
what's
a great
interesting,
system.
Pamela? We were 11 years ago, we were actually the first to start this in the hotel industry. We were the only company in the world that was a third party just doing wedding blocks. We've had a few companies since then come up and compete with us and since have gone out of business, and which is
Mm,
very interesting. But as Laura said,
yeah.
there are still a few companies out there that do this, not solely just wedding blocks like we do, but there are a few that do this. But we're different. We're kind of like a 2.0. We have like a crazy level of service because we're tied in with
Mm-hmm.
Kleinfeld, and Kleinfeld is all about service, service, service. Like the running joke
Yes.
is Ronnie always says, you could call me on my cell phone until midnight, any night. So when we signed our deal with Kleinfeld, Laura, I have kids, Laura doesn't. So Laura had to say,
I
you could
took the
call me
hit.
on my phone any night until midnight. So we have that same kind of service level. We're more like
Right.
boutique and very service oriented than a big box that, just books everywhere. So they're a little
I
different.
love it.
The only person
Okay.
calling me at midnight is the owner of Kleinfeld Bridal. No one else,
Thank
unfortunately.
heavens. Right. Yeah. Okay. So David wants to know if you're attending IMEX in Vegas.
Yes, of
Yes,
course. That
yes,
we're at IMAX
IMAX
every year.
Vegas. Yes, we're very excited. So
We
we'd
love
love to
All
IMAX.
we'd love
right.
to meet anyone going to IMAX. It's
Just
a
shoot
lot
us
of
an
fun.
email. Yeah.
Yes.
And Grace is wanting to get your contact info. We will share all of that in our follow-up emails, so don't worry. Some other questions that I have. Okay, you mentioned hotels are charging destination fees. Is
Mhm.
this something they are outright listing on the contracts or something we need to ask about? Are they hidden or transparent on the block contracts?
Great question, because and my answer is going to be so ridiculous, but it's true. It's different at every single hotel in every single city. Some hotels put it in the contract and some don't, and just assume when you check out, you have to know about it. So, but I would always ask for it.
You always ask.
Always ask.
Yeah, somebody else in the chat noted earlier that even like Joyce said that Weston's charging a $25 destination fee. But
It's
you can
crazy.
use the credit for food or the bar in the hotel. Have you heard that?
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. So, like I
Yeah.
said, it's something that's new. It really took off after COVID. I think it was a way for hotels to get some of their money back that they lost in a couple of years during COVID.
Yeah.
So every hotel will do it different. So if a Westin's doing maybe they were doing $25 and now it's been a couple of years. So now they're allowing that $25 to go towards a food credit at the bar or
Right.
whatever. So
Right. They
again,
keep it
every
within the
single hotel is
hotel.
different.
Yeah.
It's
It's just,
different.
yeah.
Every hotel in every city, it's a different story. But it's there. That's what you need to know, and it wasn't there before.
And if you book on Expedia or or
Oh
Travelocity,
God.
one of these over-the-counter travel agencies, online travel
Yeah.
agencies, that facility fee is never waived. So you might say, oh, the rate is $5 cheaper on Expedia.
No,
You're
it's
going to
not.
be charged the destination fee. You're going to be getting the worst room in the hotel. That's what next to the elevator, in between the ice machine. It's going to stink. And
It's
you're
true though.
also
I
going to
believe
not get
it.
any of your perks. You're not going to be able to get any upgrades for mom and dad, no upgrades for the future in-laws, no upgrade for yourself. Nobody can hand out the gift
Yeah.
bags. It's very, very different. Even though it may look good online, it's not. So if
Yep.
things look too good to be true, they are.
Right. And you really have no assurances. Speaking as someone who recently booked just a single room online, and then I was unable to make any changes and didn't get to use it. It just sat empty that night because I
Exactly.
couldn't make it there.
Right. And
And
So
that's what we're
that's not
there
good.
for too. If there is, attrition, or if there's not attrition and there is attrition and
Yeah.
somebody needs to get out of their financial obligation. Laura and I, when we call a hotel, they're a little bit scared and it's like, okay, we'll handle this. Remember, we're a small company, but we're producing like 6,000 blocks worldwide. So hotels want to be
Yeah.
on our good side, so we're always like
true.
the watchdog for the client or for the
Yeah.
bride. Like if something goes wrong, like we're going to handle it, where
And
they
we
would
love
be on
our
their
hotel
own.
partners. So I mean, we couldn't do it without our hotel
Oh, yeah.
partners.
They're
Yeah.
everything for
They're the
us.
best. They're the best
Hmm.
people, and they're just fun loving and wonderful. And we've known some of them. I'm old. I know a lot of these people for a long time. So they're when you know someone, it's easier. It's harder for people to say no
Yeah.
to someone that you know. So we can kind of navigate that. So if after you book, you get your booking link, and there's any kind of issue, we
Which
can
there
try.
always is.
There is, and we can
Hmm.
try to help you. So we're there as an extra layer of protection, which is something that really is very invaluable.
And you did note when we talked about this in advance the importance of checking your booking link.
Hmm.
Not just receiving it and but always
Check
checking
it.
it and making sure
Check
that everything is right.
everything,
Check
or assign
everything.
someone on your team, the mother of the
Yeah.
bride, or, your assistant if you're an event planner. Someone needs to be checking all this stuff.
Can you talk for another minute about attrition and how you estimate that, how you handle that?
Absolutely. So attrition is interesting. Attrition is basically the financial obligation to pick up rooms into the block. I would say 98% of the time, if you're doing a block during the week for a corporation, association, education, your attrition is about 85-90%. That's what you have to pick up. For wedding blocks in most markets, I'll tell you which ones this is not the case, and the market dictates it. But for wedding blocks, typically we will get courtesy blocks. So anywhere from 10 to 20 rooms for 2 nights, and there's no obligation. That's another reason to get a courtesy block, because there's no obligation to pick it up, but you have it if you need it. So if you pick up 5 rooms into the block out of the 20, you're not on the hook for the other 15. Now, I
Mm-hmm.
say that's how it is in most markets, but in markets like Nashville, Miami, I mean, Laura could name some more, but in
Long
certain
Island,
markets, oh, right, Long
Yeah.
Island,
Boston, Napa
because
Valley.
the wedding block market is so strong, it's almost like their corporate market where they sell out on the weekends. You have to be on the hook for those rooms. So it really just depends on what the market dictates. And, you just kind of go from there. But if a market dictates a financial obligation and attrition block, we will try to negotiate that down. So like in Nashville, we have a few hotels we work with where for a wedding block, they'll do a 90% attrition. For us, they'll do a 70%. So we have these like relationships with hotels where we'll get special concessions and perks because of the volume of business that we give them. But we know the markets that have the attrition and don't for the wedding block.
Right.
And for corporate,
Okay.
or non-weddings, stuff during the week, if it's in a major city, 9 out of 10 times there will be attrition
Yeah.
on the block. But
Yeah.
sometimes we will try to get a small courtesy block as well. But we often that's very rare. But we do that as well.
We have a question on the other side of attrition. Aaron is asking, is it possible to add rooms on later if more people do need to stay over?
Yes, it's definitely possible. It's not a guarantee. So what we tell people is, if you want to get a courtesy block, they're only giving 10 rooms. Have your whole wedding party book your blocks immediately.
Quickly.
Get your mother, your in-laws, your best friend, your sister, your brother, everyone that make them book immediately so that the block is 90 to 100% full. And then we can say to the hotel, or you say to the hotel, I need more rooms because it's full. And then they'll give you more rooms at the same rate. But if you wait months down the road, it might be a lot more expensive.
Yeah, I was going to say the challenge with that is, and we get this all the time, what happens is if people want to add rooms into the block, like Laura said, 6-8 months down the road, now the hotel has booked multiple groups into the hotel. They're not allowed to offer that super low rate they gave us a year ago for the wedding block. They just can't. It's not possible. So the rate could be $100 more, and it's tough when you're paying a different rate. You and your cousin are paying two different rates. It's just tough. So it's
like being
Laura
on a plane.
said. Yeah, exactly.
It's
the same thing. It's the same exact thing. So it's better to do it about 9 months in advance is the best time to get the best rate. If I had to pick, I would say 9 months, right, Laura?
Yep, 9 months.
Yeah.
Except if like a very, very busy area, like a Long Island or Napa Valley, then you have to do it over a year out.
Got it. Wow. It's fascinating that Long Island keeps coming up as a place that you need a lot of
it's like weddings.
You know why? Because in Long Island, there's 8,000 venues and 2 hotels. Believe it or not, there's a lot more venues than there are hotels. So, and everybody stays.
Elon Musk should open a hotel in Long Island with all this money.
We'll get right on that.
Exactly.
Okay. So another question is, what are you seeing as your top 5 hotel concessions that you negotiate?
That's a really good question. Top 5 concessions. Well, we always negotiate. We try to negotiate. It's all about the bride and groom, the couple. So we'll do the suite, either a free suite, a complimentary suite with X number of rooms booked into a block, or at least a suite at the group rate. Double reward points is another top concession.
Something for also for the parents. We always try to get an upgrade for the parents. That's important. I would say also sometimes a room, if it doesn't fit in the suite, like a meeting room or something like that in the hotel, for either the groom and his party to get ready in, or the bride and her party to get ready in. But that could typically be like a $3,000 cost to rent that meeting room for the day. So that's something we try to get. Obviously, the free gift bag drop.
That's big.
That's big. The free breakfast, or breakfast kind of hidden in the rate. We do that too. That's a big deal. Those are the main ones.
Shuttle too. Like if it could be either a free shuttle or a discounted shuttle. Shuttle's big. If it's in an urban city, then it's really going to be an Uber, or they're going to get their own shuttles. But shuttle's very big in suburban areas.
Okay, that's a good one. Who signs the contracts?
The client. We are just, it's always between the hotel and the client, or the hotel and the bride. We will have a little not concession, but a commission clause in the contract. And that would be signed by us in the hotel, that they will pay us a commission on any rooms that pick up into the block. But we do not sign the contracts.
Okay.
And the contract's
Perfect.
not valid until the hotel and the end user sign the
Right.
contract. So
They
who's
have to have a
signing?
countersign. Yep.
Yeah, you need a countersign.
Okay, and I have a confirmation here just to confirm. LM Media provides a free service to planners to help us find the best deal and
Correct.
situation for our clients.
100% free service because we get paid from the hotels.
Right.
We're the
Okay.
only thing that's too good to be true in the whole world.
And we really are the only free service in the wedding industry, as Ronnie
We
likes to
are.
always say.
I love
We
that.
really, no, honestly, we really do get great deals. Some people just say it and it's lip service, but we live and breathe this every day. Our girls are doing, hundreds of blocks at any given time. They sleepwalk these room blocks. So, and we definitely have drilled it into their heads, and we're so fortunate. But it really is, it's a great service. And we help these brides and grooms and planners who really need the help. And we take all this pressure off. People have no idea how difficult this process is until they start it.
Right. Right. I do know in terms of savings, we have an event in DC tomorrow night. And, as happens in DC, there's lots of other really big events happening at the same time, and prices went sky high. And I know you locked in really great rates for our room block. So we're
right. There was a citywide. So we had to get a block at that Homewood Suites.
Yeah. Okay. A question. How do you reach out initially? Call or email, some other way? Do you contact these hotels?
Call, email, text, but obviously it's an initial email. And we have also a proprietary sourcing tool that communicates with our team and the hotels, and they communicate back. And if they don't communicate within a certain allotment of time, they get yelled at by their boss or the global people. So we have a watchdog that makes sure that they have to respond. And which is great. Otherwise, people don't have to do it. They're not going to because they're so busy doing other things.
Amazing. The questions just keep coming. You guys are offering
international.
some real
we work
great
anywhere in the world. I see that question. We're international. Yes.
Okay, great. And we talked about contract perks and things you can negotiate. I have a question about resale clauses that you work into contracts. Are there things that they should be requesting or considering?
It's hard. So we have, like I said, we have about 120 clients that we do all the contract negotiation for and sourcing for, but these are clients that are producing, a conference of 5,000 people. So we have specific clauses we have built into those contracts, like a rebook clause or a resell clause or, a no walk clause, things like that. And we could warrant that with that size. With a small wedding block of 10 rooms for 2 nights on the weekend, we can't put in there a no walk clause or a resell clause. It's just, the hotel won't approve it. It's just not going to work. But yes, we do have those clauses for our larger groups. We do.
That makes sense.
And we have them approved by chains like Marriott and Hilton. We have corporate approval with our company and their company in the headquarters for specific clauses that are allowed to be put in the contracts. And they're very strict. So we have that all worked out.
Perfect. I love that. So a couple of related questions. Do you book ballrooms as well?
Mm-hmm.
You do?
We do. Yes. Meeting space. Yes. 100%. All day, every day. That's the background of Laura and I. We did global sales. We were director of sales on property, and we did group business. So that's our background. That's what we're good at. We'll give the accounts to the girls, but anything that's non-bridal, for the most part, we have a hand in with booking all those other accounts. So that's what we're good at.
Yeah. Did you want to add something, Laura?
Yeah, we can source the ballroom, which would be their main session, and then we can do a bunch of breakout rooms, offices, so we can map out those specs.
Also, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just want to mention also for the planners on the call, we also book a ton of rehearsal dinners or next day brunches, and we can do that either through the hotel or at a different space. It depends what city. I would say if it's New York or Chicago or Boston or DC, ABC, we have those relationships where we have relationships with different restaurant groups. So we can help you set that up as well.
Amazing, full service. Do you, though, book airfare and ground transportation?
No.
No. Okay.
Nope. We got it. We got to stick with what we do.
Yeah, you got to
do
draw
so
the line
much.
somewhere. Then you're a travel agent at some point. Okay, someone is asking if our client has already signed the contract with the venue part of the hotel to do their event, are you still able to help with room blocks at that hotel?
That's a good question. I'd say it's 50-50. Sometimes, yes, especially in destinations, you know, a destination wedding, they might have booked their wedding and the area that the wedding's happening, but they haven't booked their rooms yet. But we could do it. It depends on what the hotel wants. If the hotel wants to keep it all with the one salesperson, then no. But if the hotel has like a room salesperson and a catering salesperson, then yes. So
right. If it's separate contracts, and if they already contracted with the venue, then I would say yes, because that means it's separate contracts. That means the hotel portion is not in there. So I would say yes for that.
Yeah. And we
got it. Okay, we still have more questions coming in. I'm just going to take a few more because we're getting close to our time here.
Will the questions still populate in the chat that we could answer afterwards or no?
That is a good question. So some of them are in the Q&A and they're anonymous. Let's get to those first to make sure. Okay, someone's asking the best way to get in contact with you to use your services. We're going to share that in the follow-up email, so not to worry. Do you only do the room block contracts or also review the hotel venue ballroom clauses before signing for an event?
If it's all in one contract, we review everything. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And then is there any specific language you look for on the hotel contracts that would make you hesitant?
Not really. I mean, no, because usually it's very reasonable and standard. We work with, you know, major brands or highly, you know, professional independent brands. So there's nothing we haven't seen. So nothing scares us at this point. We can plow through it. And if it's really bad, we might say something, but that never happens.
Okay. Have you ever dealt with the situation of rooms not being booked upon guests checking in?
The room so the guest goes there and the room's not available?
Yeah.
Sometimes that's like once in a blue moon.
Rare for our blocks because then a hotel person knows they have to deal with us.
Yeah, so I'd say
no.
The honest to God truth. I hate to say it. I mean, it's very rare. We do so many of these, and I don't think I've heard of any of our guests getting walked.
Because exactly. Yeah, and we have no walk clauses on our non-bridal contracts, so that doesn't happen. So we try to protect them in advance.
Amazing. I was going to say my very last question, but here we are. As a planner, we pitch venue search and room block. Are we able to use your services without clients knowing?
Yes. We have a ton of planners which we love. They get paid from their brides to do this kind of work that we do. And what we'll do is we'll do kind of like a separate addendum. If it can't be in the contract, we'll do a separate addendum with the hotel for our commission clause. And also when we put together the spreadsheet, giving all the hotel options, we could actually tag it and put the planner's information. So it looks like the planner made the spreadsheet, not LM Media. So we do that with a few of our planners because it's very important for them. Then we understand that, and that's great.
That's amazing.
We're like Cyrano de Bergerac for hotels.
Yeah. I love that. That's amazing. I have another question about the clauses, but I think that's something maybe we can get into afterwards so that we don't get too deep on it here.
Okay.
Because we do need to wrap up, if that's all right. So, but I do have a specific question. What is a no walk clause?
A no walk clause is just something that will say, even if your hotel is sold out, our guests will not get walked. So what hotels do is when they're in a sold out situation, because I used to sit in these rooms as a director of sales, you pick the 10, 15, 20 people that are getting walked that day. And it's typically I hate to say it, but a lot of times it starts with the OTAs, which is
Expedia,
Expedia,
Priceline.
Travelocity, Priceline,
Mm,
and then it will go to the wedding blocks, unfortunately. Not if it's our block, because they know they'll get killed.
They're
But
scared.
right.
but that's usually how it goes. So we have a clause in there that says hotel is not allowed to walk our clients.
Okay. Amazing. Are there any last closing thoughts you have that you would like to share before we move into wrapping this up?
No.
I don't think so. I think we went over everything.
I mean, you really have shared a lot of great tips and ideas today for everyone. I think most people are ready to just hand it over to you. It's an
It's a
overwhelming,
nightmare. It really is.
yeah,
Trust me, we're doing them all day. It's a nightmare.
it is
So,
an
if I
overwhelming
had someone to
task.
do it, yeah. It's like,
Yeah,
do you want to do your own dishes or do you want to have someone else do them for you, dry them, and put them away perfectly? That's really what it is.
yeah, good question. I love it. Okay, so to wrap up, I do want to bring us back to PartySlate. You know, we do these educational webinars once a month to really help lift up our community. We're so excited to share all different types of knowledge, from digital marketing to really specific topics like this, to service advice from experts. And so we're really grateful that you joined us today. And I'd love to hear from you what it's been like working with PartySlate.
Sure. I could talk about that. I love PartySlate.
Yeah.
I always say it's like so fantastic for the wedding block portion of our business. Same type of level of service. I
Yeah.
think for us, for Laura and I, the biggest thing was the live events and going into all these different major markets. Laura's based in Florida. I'm based in New Jersey, and most of our stuff is in the tri-state area, even though we book all over the world. And we do have people in
Yeah.
some areas. But with the PartySlate partnership, we were able, it kind of gave us a reason to travel to all the cities that we're doing so much business in anyway. So, you know, when we were in
Right.
Chicago, we got to meet with all of our planners and venues we work with in Chicago and go to the PartySlate event. You know, so for us,
Yeah.
that part was huge because it almost like made us travel to all of the major cities that we're already booking in anyway. And then I would say just like all of the connections that we made and
Mm-hmm.
everyone that PartySlate has introduced us to on the venue and planner side have been fantastic. So it was
Yeah.
tremendous for us. I would say like everything like that Julie does in the team, it's just so
Yeah.
fantastic and inspiring. And it's very much
It
kind of
is.
how she got started, like how we got started, and we're, you know, a woman-owned business, and that was pretty important to us. And, you know, I would just say the connections that we've made with all the planners over this past year and the travel
Yeah.
have been invaluable.
Yeah.
And
And
I
we're
will
really
say
impressed.
too,
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
We're so impressed that it's not just say a weddings. It's centered on
Yeah.
everything party, and the following and the loyalty and the branding. It's really unparalleled, and it's really, you know, next level compared to the competition, if there
Yeah.
even is any.
We really appreciate that. We're very proud of what we have built from a tiny startup to
Hmm.
a very big operation to
I
share
know
the work of
it's
this industry.
wonderful. It's like giving
Yeah.
birth multiple times.
It really is. It
It
really is.
My
is.
third child.
Sometimes just as painful. So, the last thing that I want to share as we wrap up is just some exciting news from PartySlate. So, I just want to let all of our premium members know that on October 1st, you should be looking out for some new functionality that we find really exciting. I think it's going to make your life a lot easier. We are going to be rolling out a product we're calling Search My Photos, which does exactly what it says. So if you have a client that is curious about white weddings you've done or wants to see the yellow centerpieces or the ballroom weddings or a certain kind of aisle, you can, oh, I just lost my lighting. You can quickly search all of your photos and share all of those images. We utilize AI to identify information in your content and to put tags, and it will make your life so much easier. And then we have a Gen 2 that will be following that is going to make your social media life much easier. So I'm not going to share that yet. That's the teaser, but our premium members are going to be seeing this in just a week or so.
That's
exciting. So we're very excited about that. Very excited. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for joining us today, and look for our wrap-up email, which will have the full recording of the event.
Thank you,
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining. Bye.